You want to call it a night? Just go to SAS. Got more games in you?
Calling it. Oh, okay,
I'm
so
not gonna call it. I'm not gonna call it. You
I
gotta
think
call it tonight.
I think all right, here's the thing. I think I'm gonna do one more, and it's if I get below point 0.5 KD again on this game, then it's definitely the last one.
All right.
But if I go above if I go positive, if I go above
We,
1.0,
we run it
then
back.
I'll play another one. Yeah, then we run it back.
All right,
So
let's get this then.
Who's out here?
Got the VTOL on station, ready to deploy.
What's up, my nuggets? MisterFantasmo here, and no, this is not a 20-minute montage. I know I got you guys excited there for a second, but I just wanted to properly illustrate the mood that we need to be put in for this video, because compared to my last video, and compared to day one on the beta in general, the rest of my time spent in the beta over this past weekend has been more akin to a montage than a nightmare. And I know that I gave some very rash, harsh opinions in the last video, and maybe not. Maybe they were justified. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. I'm such a freaking flip-flopper when I go to criticize Call of Duty anymore. What's wrong with me? I need to have some backbone and spine. But anyways, I do want to say that even before Sunday, which this gameplay came before Sunday, as you might have picked up on. Also, don't let the montage clip in the beginning fool you. This is not a poop on the other team kind of game. This is a very hard fought game, as it was one of the last games of the night for us. Also, you're going to get to see me embrace full nug rage during this. You might not be able to hear it all the way, although I'm sure you'll hear subtle screams, because I have to, even though I jack the volume way down for these commentaries, for the volume in these commentaries, since I use stream video, because that's the only time I play Call of Duty anymore. I sometimes have trouble finding the right mix of volume because I have it improperly mixed on the stream. But either way, you'll probably hear me moan and groan and grudge and complain about especially that one spot that they just continued to go up to in this one particular headquarters that spawns there twice. New camping spots, gotta love it. That's actually one of the things that I'm surprised I didn't bring up in my first beta impressions video, because it was actually the last thing on my list of things to bring up, and I just completely forgot about it. Because it is so prevalent, as far as like something that has been conducive to the negative experiences that I've had in this Call of Duty have been, for better or worse, the same things that were conducive to my negative experiences in early Call of Duties. In that last video, I said that the explosives very much so reminded me of the Modern Warfare 2 era, and I do stand by that. But that's also, like, I don't know if that's good, or I think that's good for people who used a lot of explosives in Modern Warfare 2. But for me, I didn't really. And so you're having the explosives and the camping combined into claymores, which are just, you know, they were killing me instantly. So the campers were hard enough to find in their corners, because this game is so weird about showing you people's enemies' name tags above their head. It's like you don't get it until you're like basically aim down sight over them. That I just didn't know how that was going to work, and I still don't really know, because it seems like because you die so quickly in this game, very similar to early versions of Call of Duty, I think it just scares people. And I also think that the maps are new and everything's new, and I think that scares people. I think a lot of very good people were on the game when it first came out in the early release stage of the early release beta. So I think that scared people too, and I think people were just scared, and there was just so much camping, and like I said, the claymores were a little bit of an issue until after day 2 when they released the level cap to 20, and that was what allowed us to unlock other perks. That was basically the only thing that I really unlocked from level 10 to level 20 that I really, really, really appreciated. But I appreciated it all because, as you can see right here, EOD, Ghost, and Battle Hardened, the perks that I have that I'm running, you'll see it when I respawn at some point. I respawn a bajillion times in this. You know, it's weird because they changed the playlists around the second day, and they added more in. Still mostly headquarters, TDM, and domination. But I would be such a bad war general, I think. I think the amount of deaths that I have to commit to the field, and you know, I'm pretty sure I got the top of the scoreboard for this match. So I for doing the best, you know, for doing the best at war, we sure do lose a lot of bodies, and that tends to. Sometimes I can't see the forest for the trees in a headquarters match, and I want to act like it's a free for all, and that there are 6 enemies or whatever that I'm facing, but they're more spread out than they are, and then I just get upset if I don't kill at least 3 or 4 people every life, which is probably unreasonable of me to think that way, especially in this increased time of competitiveness that we have in the beta right now, or that we had in the beta, I should say. RIP until next weekend. But what I was getting at was the perks that unlocked really allowed me to maintain my competitiveness in the way that I wanted to, and in a way that combated the campers in a lot of ways, and it also combated the fact that we really had limited kill streak choices. And they opened up a couple more. You saw the VTOL in the beginning. I was trying that out. I didn't really like that too much. I mostly just really cared about the UAVs, which is what a lot of people cared about, because those were one of the few good kill streaks, you could say, are very useful, very easy to get kill streaks that you could consistently be getting. And so having Ghost was a must. I actually started out with my 2 main classes that I had always been using, just the AK and the MP5. And then I had alternate classes, the exact same, just instead of what was it? Was it High Alert or something like that I was running in the red spot? I think the vision pulsing thing. I was on the fence about that, and I ended up deciding that it kind of made me more anxious than anything. Like, it made me, when it started pulsing, I would just like freak out. I would go and turn 30 degrees to my left and then spin around 90 degrees to my right, and then someone would probably just kill me. Like, that's mostly how it happened. So instead, I just want to run like someone's always aiming at me when I'm running from cover to cover, and I think I'll be all right. It'll probably, the High Alert would probably save my life in certain instances, but I think that just having Ghost probably saves my life in many more, especially during this beta. Not only did I have Ghost on, but I also had my other 2 perks were all geared towards making all of the equipment that the other team had less useful against me. So the Flak Jacket, or the EOD perk, kind of similar to Flak Jacket, that you take less damage from explosives, but it also has a bit of a hacker addition to it where you can hack enemy claymores and mines, and I actually didn't get the chance to do that. I was just thankful that when I walked through a door and got blasted by Claymore, it just put me to like 1 health instead of 0 health. So that was cool. That was useful. And then also the Battle Hardened is one that kind of does a similar thing, but for stuns and flashes. And that normally isn't a thing that I would super prioritize, I don't think. But the stuns and flashes in this game, again, very similar to, I don't even want to say Modern Warfare 2. Like, these stuns and flashes are similar to Call of Duty 4, and they might even be more powerful, or maybe I'm just misremembering, but in Call of Duty 4, the classic combo was stun, grenade. Like, you get stun locked, so you can't move, and then someone just lobs a grenade and they kill you. Almost to where when you got stunned, it was just as painful of an experience as getting grenaded, because you knew the grenade was coming very shortly after. And that's how it feels in this game. So this allows me to not completely get obliterated by the stuns and the flashes. I don't really know that, like, well, I'm getting flashed and stunned during this game several times, and I'm seeing that it's not affecting me as much as I'm saying it normally does. So it does do something apparently, but yeah, I just wanted every little ounce of defense for my offensive play style, and because when you run and gun, it was so much easier to run and gun in Black Ops 4, and obviously just because of the health. Just because you could run into a room, get shot a little bit, or get hit by a claymore and get shot a little bit, and then you could back out real quick, and then you could heal yourself as you're running around the corner, and then you could face them mano y mano, 1v1, full health versus full health, and you both know where the other person's coming from, except for maybe you would even have an advantage because you would be setting the tempo in the engagement. That's one of the biggest things about, even in free-for-all, I find that it's like, if you die in free-for-all, it can be very easy to die again. It can actually be more easy to die again than it is to get a kill. Whereas if you get a kill in free-for-all, it can almost be easier to get another kill than it can be to die again, unless you're really low on health and someone just picks you off. But the reason I say that is because if you can get ahead of, I don't know if it's ahead of the spawns, because it's not a particular spawn issue or anything that I'm trying to address. It's more just the momentum that you can carry into the next battle, where you're just like, all right, I got a kill, and now the people are still looking for me, but I'm not looking for people as much as I'm just fresh off a kill and looking for the opportunity for another one, and these people are going to keep coming to me, kind of thing. So there's a bit of a momentum that you can build up. I don't know where the hell I was going with that. That was a completely we'll all look back in the commentary and realize, but I have no freaking clue where I was going with that. That is a tip, though, I would say, with free-for-alls and kind of just with Call of Duty games in general, where if I die, I don't care as much about, all right, I died, so let me just camp it out so I don't die as easily the next time. I'd rather just keep trying to push that momentum and try and flip the advantage, and maybe this is a pseudo advantage or a placebo advantage that I'm talking about, but I do think there is an advantage to, as you're setting the pace, if you want to call it, you're getting these kills and you're kind of putting them on the back foot. I think everyone would probably agree that there's a pretty highly sought after advantage to killing the other team in Call of Duty. My points, they just dissolve into nothingness after a while. But anyways, the perks made the beta better and they made it playable. I still kind of backed out at the end of Saturday, but we kept going a little bit, and then I kept, after I would turn off the stream and I would shut everything down, I'd be like, all right, I'll keep going back in for another round or two. I got another round in me, because it was better. And then they eventually, the featured playlist and the locked the filtered playlist, you could say, they unlocked that. They unlocked the ability to filter your playlist down, so you didn't have to play everything that everybody was playing. And I didn't have to get grouped into these 10v10 matches, which were just too much. And then they added a 10v10 headquarters, so apparently a lot of people like the 10v10s, but not me. Next weekend, they also are going to be premiering the 32v32, which I don't even know if I'm going to jump in one just to see what it's like. I probably will, because it's on a new map, but either way, that was good that they unlocked the ability to filter. I don't know if it's because they had more players now, because this will work the same way next weekend for people that want to know. But it will work for all platforms, PC, PS4, and Xbox. The beta next weekend, starting the 19th, will be, for the first 2 days, Thursday and Friday, will be early access. So if you've pre-ordered the game, you get into the beta, and then Saturday, Sunday, and what's left, the little sliver that they usually do for Monday, that will all be free for anybody who, I think for PlayStation, you don't even have to have PlayStation Online, but anybody who wants to try it out, regardless of if you pre-ordered the game. And this weekend will be cross-platform, so that's another thing probably worth checking out. Hopefully not everything just burns down on that, and we can actually play, because I would love to play with a lot of the nuggets that are always on PC or especially Xbox. Those people seem to be the hardest to reach for me, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But the game, I don't know, it's hard to say why the game kept bringing me back, especially early on before. If you guys didn't know, on Sunday they released the last day of the beta, week 1. They re-released the 2v2s, and it was just like, it was the best present I could have ever got for Subscriber Appreciation Sunday. I know it's supposed to be all about the subscribers on Subscriber Appreciation Sunday, but I felt like I was a subscriber to my own Appreciation Sunday channel because it was amazing. And they only brought back 3 out of the 5 maps, but it was just, man, I love the 2v2s so much. It just cuts out so much of what I dislike about the gunfights and the gunplay and the gameplay that I get into, which is, well, the camping that I addressed early on, and then also the kill streaks, which you don't deal with in the 2v2s. And then, the guns, which are just, oh my God, everything's so perfect about that game mode. Thank you so much, Infinity Ward, for making 2v2s a thing. I've been hearing rumors that a similar thing will happen with 1v1s and 3v3s. And I'm assuming they'll use like similar maps, and I hope they bring Wetworks and Rust and Shipment back. Maybe Shipment, not Wetworks. Wetworks I was thinking of Shipment and I said Wetworks, forgive me. But some of the older, smaller Call of Duty maps that could really work well in the 2v2s. And I was going to put a 2v2 game up because that's what I most enjoyed, but I figured we'd get some headquarters and maybe some TDM in there before inevitably the rest of the videos that you'll see on this channel before Call of Duty releases will be 2v2s or, Modern Warfare of some kind, most likely 2v2s, unless I ever get around to editing down that Granddaddy Caustic video, which is on my never-ending list of to-do things. But yeah, I don't know. There were some other things that they added into the game, like they added their version of search. I forget what it was called. The search where you can revive, you can resurrect your teammates, which is pretty much all I did when I jumped into my only game of that. I just liked pretending like a necromancer and rise, blood. And I think I got I think I resurrected. I think I had 5 or 6 zombies running around with me by the end of that. So that was pretty cool. But it wasn't like it didn't engage me to the point of wanting to play it all the time. And I think maybe these bigger team games will engage me like that once there's an XP bar to fill and there's like more unlocks to get. But as far as just playing the game for the game, I think I gravitated to the mode that I liked the most out of all of them since the alpha, and that would have been the 2v2 gunfight. So I think the biggest thing that I'm going to continue to have issues with going forward with, at least when I play non-2v2 matches, is still going to be the camping. And there's not much you can do about that. It's like people will hide around corners with claymores and they will kill you from time to time. But I'm going to try to not get as upset about that. One thing I will suggest to Infinity Ward, if someone is camping, it would be nice if their red name tag over their head would come up a lot quicker. More like Call of Duties of the past, where you can almost like look in their direction. Oh my God, there's a person in there. Because in this headquarters game that you just saw, and in a lot of games, I found myself just not seeing the person before they engaged me. And then because you have so little health, you can't really go back around the corner, heal yourself, reevaluate. So I would just like to see that. I'm not saying all the way across the board make all these red name tags show up all the time. And Blev and I talked about, they should just show up on the minimap, or they should just show up as a red outline of their body in real life once they keep camping like that. But I think that was more frustration that we were expressing from it happening to us in the game. I think it's a fair strategy for people to employ, although it's not my personal strategy. And I think the best way for me to feel the best about it, even sometimes being killed by it, would just be for them to have to hide their sneaky face. That would be the one thing that would be like my one mini gripe, you could say, because they added the mini map back in on the last day, or maybe it was Saturday and Sunday. They added the mini map back in full time, so it was never off. It just didn't show enemy fire ever. Maybe not ever, or maybe only when you had UAV. I think it was never. I think it never showed enemy fire, which is interesting. It at least allowed me to maintain the team awareness that I was really missing from the minimap. So that was cool. But anyways, you guys, that's just my overall I wanted to get on here and say something else about the beta before next weekend hit, because I actually am about to jump into some Hearthstone today. The solo adventure is coming out, so we're going to be all over that on Twitch for the next few days until the beta launches. But before the next week's beta launch, I wanted to make sure I got on here and sort of expressed my apologies to Modern Warfare for jumping to the conclusions that I did. Although I think they were relatively reasonable conclusions that I jumped to, given the fact that there was such a limited playlist and set of things to use in the game at the time. But it did evolve over the weekend, and again, I'll stick with the same opinion that I had in the last video. I am still very excited for this game's launch. It's just these beta weekends are a bit too much of a 13-year-old at a strip club sort of tease, if you know what I mean. So I'm very anxious. I'm very excited. But like I said, we will be hanging out over on Twitch doing some other things before the beta launches, and then also before the actual game launches. I know they were possibly talking about releasing the single player campaign early, maybe the Spec Ops something or another early as well, kind of similar to these beta weekends. So we'll see. I think this will be the last beta weekend as far as what we'll get to play from multiplayer until October 25th, but I'm hoping that they will keep releasing some things. It would actually be really amazing if they released the single player adventure beforehand, or else I probably won't play the single player for about a year. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I have such high expectations for this game. And I just talked in my last commentary about how that can lead to a horrible time. So I'm hoping that a horrible time is not in store for us. That's all. I've rambled too long. I drank a little coffee smoothie before I did this commentary, and it's got me too hyped. I can't believe I just talked through that whole freaking headquarters game. It was so long. All right, you guys. That's it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, Nuggets.
Team deathmatch. Here they come. Attack.
Here's they come.